Welcome to Highs and Hellows, your guiding light through the intricate pathways of diabetes. I am your host, Danica the Diabetic, here to support, motivate, inspire, and empower you on this journey with diabetes. Our show is proudly sponsored by Dialogue, the insulin for your soul, a cornerstone for holistic diabetes wellness and a vibrant community. With Dialogue, it's not just about glucose readings, it's about embracing diabetes wholeheartedly and living life to the fullest. Just as our bodies rely on insulin, our souls thrive on connection, understanding, and shared experiences. Join us as we navigate the ups and downs, uncover the truths, and learn how to truly flourish with diabetes. Immerse yourself in discovering how to live your healthiest life regardless of your diabetes, right here, right now. Friends, we have Bridget Wood, Tiana Cooks, and Will Streets. This is a place to be for all things high and low with diabetes, and also a place to say hello and maybe some goodbyes, some habits and practices you guys might have for your diabetes management. Today, we are going to be diving into my favorite topic, diaversaries. This is the best thing that's ever happened to me since, being diagnosed with diabetes, because none of us asked for that, but here we are. But this is a positive piece of it. We get to celebrate something. I know when I was first diagnosed, I didn't know what a diaversary was. I think I figured out what it was maybe like 5 years ago. So I tell everybody because it's cool. So today we are going to dive into this. I'm so excited to have the crew and talk this out and see if it's just a me problem where I'm like, diaversaries are the bomb, or if other people care. So before we dive in, I just want to ask the crew, before we dive in, what are your levels? Where are you guys at right now? I'll go first. If you can see, I'm sitting at 144. I'm not making this up. I'm alive and I'm diabetic. Who's next?
I'll go next.
Oh, I can't.
I am at 156. Okay, TT, pop off.
Yes. All right.
I'll just see.
What are you? I can't see it. Ooh, 109.
Oh no.
All right. Oh no.
No.
I was just, oh my God. Beautiful shugs, love them all. I was just 110 with a slight arrow. I, however, am now 126 with an arrow straight up. So, here we are.
Adrenaline.
Yes, I think
A win is a win.
A win
is a win.
Well, we're all winning.
Yes.
That's true.
We are winning. We're here. We are all diabetic, type 1 diabetics here, and we all have very different diabetes, but our diagnosis has brought us together, and it's a beautiful thing. So let's dive in, guys. Can you guys help me explain to people what is a diaversary? Like, what does it mean to you guys? I can go first too, because you guys know I'm amped up about it.
It doesn't really
Yes.
You can go. I can go. We can go. Go ahead.
Let me just. You guys, I'm amped up. I'm ready to party.
Coming up, so shoot it.
Yes. So your diaversary is your diabetes anniversary. So it's the day you were diagnosed, and at that time, you're probably not thinking about like, oh, I'm gonna have an anniversary. It's gonna be a vibe one day. No, like I wasn't. I was like, what is going on? But now that I'm older and I've been living with diabetes for almost 20 years, I'm like, this diaversary, it's a chance for me to like stop and reflect on how resilient I am and how I'm overcoming these highs and lows and what diabetes has done for me this year. It's not always a negative. It helps me grow professionally, helps me grow personally, helps me be a better friend in all these ways. But it really is part of my superpower. I am far more in tune to my health than I was before, and I care about it. So I don't hate being diabetic. I think it's opened the doors for so much more for my life. But my diaversary is just a chance for me to be like, yeah, you know what? Living with a chronic illness isn't ideal, but I'm doing it and I'm living and I'm building and I'm doing all these things while being diabetic. So I like to really take it all the way up, all levels up for my diaversary, have a party, make it a vibe, tell everybody, and I use it as a chance to raise awareness on diabetes, because it can look like us, it can look like somebody else. No diabetes is the same, and your girl just likes to have a good time.
And you deserve it.
Yes.
We all deserve to be living our best life.
Yes.
Absolutely.
But yeah, what does it mean to you guys?
Did you say how many years you will have had diabetes? I might have missed it.
Girl, too many.
I need to know.
I'm hitting up on my 18th anniversary or diaversary.
Wow.
So
Wow, diabetes is getting grown.
Your diabetes is like kind of legal at 18. Like
Yeah.
you're grown up. Your diabetes is grown, can make its own decisions. That's crazy.
I know. I haven't even thought about it. It's been like, I'm a whole adult now. Like diabetes. I got to go to no more pediatrics. I mean, I got to go to the real endo.
That was the worst transition. I was like, take me back to peds. But honestly, I agree with everything you just said as far as just, wanting to celebrate your diaversary. I think a lot of people are like, this is the worst day of my life. And I think with everything in life, you have two options on how you perceive it. But with diabetes, I'm always telling people you should celebrate your life, because every single day you fight to be here. You make so many decisions each day that are life or death, and essentially, right? And every year that you reach another benchmark, I think you should celebrate your life. It's more of a celebration of life for me. And I honestly tell people a diaversary is almost, if not more important than my birthday these days. Like I almost look forward to that day more than my own birthday, because it's the day that changed my life, but it's also the day that saved my life, because had I not gotten diagnosed that day, I might not be here. So I celebrate it too, and I'm glad that you're celebrating yours.
Right. Keep on celebrating.
Yes.
Yes.
Diabetes is a journey, and it's a journey that brought us together. Like that's my favorite thing. It's like the community that came out of it, and I love to celebrate with people where I don't have to explain it.
Right.
Facts.
Everyone's like, you're so odd. I'm like, I'm not odd, I'm just vibing.
Well, you go. I'll go last.
All right, I'll go. So, yeah, diabetes diaversaries to me, like they mean everything to me. Like every time I see someone post about their own diaversary, like I congratulate them on their second chance at life, because truly, we were given a second chance at life on the day we were diagnosed. I mean, we're really talking 102 years since insulin was first given to a person. So yeah, my birthday is coming up in a week. I celebrate that very minuscule. I mean, but March 10th, I will celebrate big, because my diversity turns 21 this year. So we popping off. Like,
Really illegal.
we getting big grown, big energy.
Yes.
Like
I'm about to come to Philly.
Call all your friends. Look. Yeah, and over the last few years, like I've really celebrated it big. Last year we had a meetup outside of Philly. It was like a group of like 12 of us. We went out and ate. We went to a gala. And I had a party with my family. Like invited everyone over. Like we're celebrating my life. Like serious. Because look, I remember like yesterday, the day I was diagnosed, and they were like, you were like hours probably from being in a coma. So. Like, yeah, diabetes, it is what it is, but it saved my life also.
Yeah. You know what? You're going all the way up to, and like what you guys are saying, I can't wait to get into Bridget, but diabetes is our lifeline. Like, isn't that crazy? Like, if our timing wasn't right, if we weren't at the right place at the right time, if we didn't have the interventions or support or whatever your story was, like, I might not know y'all. I wouldn't be Danica the Diabetic. That girl was Danica. Like, it could have been very different. Could have been very different. And I had death by chocolate the night before, and I always look back at that. Like, I mean, I haven't had it since because I feel like it's a little risky. But that dessert might have did me in. That's not how it works, but you got to look at it differently. Life change.
Wait, what? Hold on. What dessert is that before I start? Okay. What dessert?
It's like, you know what? I don't like. I blanked out on what it was, but I was at Bennigan's, and I'm pretty sure it was like a chocolate cake
Oh,
pie
I
thing.
remember Bennigan's.
Yeah,
I love
like
Finnegan's.
Was it like the brownie with the ice? Like,
I don't even. It was bomb, whatever it was, and like I loved it. I don't even know why I was at Bennigan's, what I was doing there, but like this dessert was all I cared about on the menu, and I probably, if there was anybody that could have did their pancreas in, I was that person. But luckily, like this type, that wasn't even it. It was just a biohazard. I had to learn a lot down the line, but I don't know. My life went from living it up, eating death by chocolate when I wanted to here's a list of all the stuff you can't do. Overnight, it was reality check. Nobody wanted.
Oh my gosh.
I'm
Wow.
trying to figure out what Bennigan's is because we don't have one of those here.
oh,
They don't
I've
exist
never heard of it.
anymore.
oh,
Okay,
right.
that's
don't
why.
exist.
They don't
That's
exist
why.
anymore.
Okay.
But it was a
Like,
chain
never
restaurant similar to like
Yeah.
a Applebee's.
Oh.
Dude, it was
Yeah,
like,
Applebee's,
was it like,
Chili's. It was like
Yeah.
was
Irish,
it like,
maybe.
Right,
yeah,
it was.
Irish. It was Irish.
Yeah, because
It
my
was
brother always
so
got
good.
like the Monte Cristo sandwich and like
I
dipped it in this
remember.
jam. I'm like,
I
I
was
don't know
still on
why I
kids'
remember
meals.
these.
Yeah, they had these Southwest egg rolls that I used to like.
Oh wow, Tiana, you missed out. But I mean, I don't know.
did.
Like chains back then were different. They
They
were
were.
very different. Like we didn't have as many mom and pop little restaurants to go through and
Right.
do these things, but like chains back then, I think were just the vibe. Like it was different.
That was the dinner.
Yeah. All right,
I'm
Bridget.
jealous.
What does a diaversary mean to you?
Okay, so I won't say that it's bigger than my birthday because I am a Scorpio, so I can only, my birthday is pretty
That
top notch, but I will
Scorpio
say it's about the
energy.
same. But like for me, like you guys, same kind of situation. It's a celebration of life and like all the accomplishments and just all the different opportunities that I've gotten just by being someone living with diabetes. Like I would not know any of you guys. I wouldn't have the job I have. I wouldn't have been able to have all of these different things and like the strength that I have and the perseverance and like just keeping it like going. And obviously I just told you guys I was low before this call, so things aren't going to make sense and I just keep saying words and not connecting. But what I'm trying to say is that it's a huge deal and I think everyone should within their comfort zone celebrate it because it's not easy. Diabetes is not easy and there's going to be days where you're going to feel like it's the end of the world, but we've all gone through so much and we all do so much every single day to be the people that you see here. So that deserves some celebration. Hopefully my brain will start working in a second.
Did she just disconnect
There's no
herself?
way.
Oh man, let me text her. Everyone text her at the same time.
Oh my god.
She was going in on us.
Oh man.
Rewind.
I'm gonna go take some insulin.
Okay, sounds good.
I just text her, said, "Come back to us."
Come back. Where'd you go? I was like, yeah.
Look, her diabetes just disappeared.
It just disappeared. It's gone. It was like, oop, gotta go.
Right. That is something I did want to follow up with the Diaversary. Like, as much as we celebrate it today, if given a chance, will we say bid farewell to our diabetes if we could?
Yeah.
Like, as much as we love this, as much as I love this dance, but
you gotta be real. It's not easy.
look,
It costs money.
right.
I want
As
to keep
much
my
as I
money for
love this
class.
dance called diabetes, if given a
Wait.
chance, vamoose.
Bye.
Yep.
I can't.
Sayonara.
Welcome back.
Thank you. You guys, welcome to Life with Diabetes. Sometimes you're in, sometimes you're out, sometimes you're physically here and you're mentally not. Like that's being diabetic. When thinking about diabetes as an anniversary, to me that was the biggest change because I was like, an anniversary, like I'm not married. Like I was a kid, like I just thought of it like as an old person thing or like something that I don't know. You just didn't think of anniversaries. But when we're marking this anniversary, how do you guys think marking this is an impact on an individual's perspective for their management of their diabetes? like thinking it bigger than the celebration and reflection point. But how would you advise like deciding to mark your anniversary and seeing it from a different perspective?
To be honest, I'm really not so sure about that because I know that not everyone celebrates a diversity. To some people, there is huge trauma backing that. So I'm really not so sure about that because I know previously before I joined the DOC and got to meet wonderful people like you three, I did not celebrate my diversity.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like I haven't celebrated all 18 years. It's probably been 5. And it's evolving each year, but it's something I think you have to face. Like, hey, I'm accepting that I have this disease. I'm accepting that it's hard, and you don't have to celebrate it. You don't have to get hyped up.
True.
I'm very extroverted. I'm very forward. I'm very living in my own skin as a diabetic, but I have not always been like that. And if you're deciding to mark it as a victorious thing or is it a trigger for you, like that's it. But what would you guys advise people that are trying to decide, like, oh, is this a fad? Is this a diversity thing? Or I'm new in the community. Like, what is this? I'm still processing. Like, what would you, what's your perspective on that? Like, Will's.
I would say just do it at your own time. It's not a requirement that you celebrate your diversity. It's not a requirement that you even acknowledge it. So I would say oftentimes I talk to parents who are asking me, hey, should we celebrate Benny's, first or second diaversary? He's 10. I don't really know if it's something we should celebrate. Usually it's the parents that are like hesitant to call it a celebration. And I always say yes. And I explain why it's important to me, why it's important to my family, and some cool things that I've done to celebrate. So this will be my 10th diaversary. My diabetes is turning double digits. Yeah, I'm excited. And I have this really cool bear. I would love to show you guys, but I don't know where it's at. And my mom took me to Build-A-Bear after my first diaversary, and I wrote a note to myself for when they find a cure. And then I put some of the bands that I had in the hospital in there. And we just kind of really memorialize that day. And so the bear has a doctor suit on it and a heartbeat inside of it. And so we just said one day I'm going to open up this bear and it's going to be really exciting. It's something to look forward to in the future. Or usually we'll go out to dinner, me and my whole family nowadays. We just plan a huge dinner and everybody comes. My brothers come, my nieces and nephews. It's really cool to have people around you that support you and show you that they care too.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That is beautiful. I love that. That's so thoughtful and it's just amazing.
Thanks,
Right.
guys.
It's a celebration of life.
Mhm.
It is. It is. And I think that's the hardest thing. It's I wish when I was diagnosed or whatever, I mean, someone probably told me what a diversity was, but I was so anti staying alive. I mean, it was just, let me stay alive, get off my back type of thing. My parents were the ones out there networking and doing that stuff. But if they would have told me hey, you could think of it this way or stop being so stubborn, I probably would have leaned into it. I wish I had those years back when I was at home with my family and able to really come together and celebrate this, because my life changed, not just mine, my family's, everyone I knew, my community came through, did all these things, but it was a blessing. It was a miracle in some sense. And the older I get, the more and more I get into my diabetes journey. Every year when I'm coming up, I'm really reflecting on the emotional and the growth side of this. So when we're talking about diversity, when you're thinking about this emotional journey, what stands out to you guys on each year with diabetes?
I would say just how much my own comfortability levels and just everything has changed. And I honestly would only be here today if just because of the diabetic online community. So without that, I honestly don't know how I would be. I did not really share my diabetes with people. I've been very adamant about telling people even my friends like from college and stuff, they visited recently and I had a low blood sugar. And the way that they were reacting was just so funny to me, but it was because they didn't know. I kept it so bundled up and secretive. And I just think back of like all that time of how I was just, ashamed and for no reason, right? But just ashamed and just feeling alone and feeling different. And that's kind of where my mindset goes and how far I've come from that. It's a beautiful thing, and I don't know.
I connect with that. It was many years before, I even acknowledged to my own family, like my parents, my brothers and sisters, about me living with diabetes and the years that have accrued. But like when I began to share resources and implement myself inside the diabetic online community, I looked back and I said, I need to bring my family in here with me, because if I'm sharing these resources, my experiences with strangers, then I need to be able to do that with my family also. Like this afternoon, me and my mom, we had to go to a family friend's homegoing service, and while we're in the car, I played back to her a podcast that I'm on more recently, and she was sitting there with me listening to it, and she was like, "I remember that like it was yesterday," and you could see it in her face, like the sorrow, the hurt, the trauma. She did it again.
I think you can keep going because I feel like she can
Yeah,
maybe edit that
she
part.
can edit it.
Okay, so yeah, the trauma that she endured herself, her and my father, and I could see like tears dripping from her eyes, and she's like, I remember it like it was yesterday. And for myself,
Mhm.
like thinking of my own diaversary going on 21 years, I also reflect and think about those 21 years with my mother, with my mother and my father, and I also reflect and I think about the 20 years before, how they probably can see a greater change in me than I can see in myself. So as much as it affects me, it equally affects our caregivers, our our families, our like my siblings. Even like my sister sent me a message the other day, telling me how much she's appreciative of my life. And I told her, "You're my big sister. I'm more appreciative of your life because it is because of you that I am partially the man that I am."
Mhm.
And,
I am crying.
I was about to
I
say I'm
was
about to get
waiting to
emotional.
see when the first episode was that I just like bawled my eyes out, but I think this might be it. Like I just feel like this is such a serious like conversation that sometimes we don't talk about enough because we do want some people don't understand like the reason behind like the celebration, right? And when we break it down the way that we're doing it right now, it's like that's why we celebrate. And these are the people who have been on the journey with us the entire time. Like,
right.
it's just surreal. Like whenever I think back to it and just the countless amount of times I found myself like literally on the floor crying. There's at least once a year where I find myself just diabetes just like beats me down, right?
Mhm.
And like it's just you and diabetes at that point. It's like diabetes is like it's like you're in a relationship with it, literally. And it's just you two most of the time. And a lot of people that you interact with have no idea. And you just like pick yourself up off the floor and you just choose not to let diabetes like literally defeat you. And so I think there's a lot of power in that. And just really like everything you just said about your family, your siblings, your sister. I love that. I think it's so great to have just that support system. Yeah.
It means everything, like really. Like I see the reflection of it on you. Like when I look at uh, yourself in the DOC, I always see your family backing you, and I'm like, that it's like a mountaintop. Like seriously, like there's no moving this force that's here. So when you were diagnosed, they were diagnosed as well. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you're their baby, so.
Yeah. That's a cute way to look at it. I really am gonna cry after this. I think I need to like I think I
Let
actually
it
need to
out.
cry.
I
Let
had a
it out.
diabetes cry. I had a diabetes cry moment last week. Look, I was in the kitchen and my brain just went like, it was like gone. And I'm looking at my blood sugar and it dropped like down to 43. And I'm in the kitchen and I'm like this, and all of a sudden tears start coming from my eyes. And my wife, she comes in there, she looks at me, she just puts her palm in the center of my back and just started rubbing it. And the tears were just like, she was like, "Are you okay? Are you okay? Are you fine?" I said, "I'm good now." Like
That extra
Aw.
push, that extra support.
it means a lot.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah. Okay, guys. I might need to get off camera. I'm gonna start crying.
It's okay.
I'm not even kidding.
This is the reality of reality
I'm
TV.
okay.
Like
Really
this
though.
is reality.
I'm not okay tonight. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm okay.
So Danica, we just been reflecting on our lives with diabetes, the family support, the DOC, crying with diabetes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot. My mom told me recently she thinks diabetes saved my life. Not saying I was a bad kid. I'm just a free spirit in some sense. I'm adventurous, and learning this level of life or death at such a young age, and just a lot of lessons that people are still learning into their 40s, 50s, you know, like we had to learn as kids and beyond, and it's just different. So sometimes I agree with her, sometimes I don't, but when I hear comments like that, it makes me just really go into self-reflection and say, what has diabetes done for me? Rather than diabetes has done this to me. It's what has it done? What doors has it opened? But I feel like I spent so much time just going through the motions with diabetes. And ever since I started celebrating and acknowledging like myself, it made me really sit down and be like, oh, every year, what am I doing? Like, am I getting better? Am I being healthy? Am I growing? Am I making new friends? Am I supporting our community? Like, why am I doing this? And it's really just given me a higher purpose, honestly. I think it was something I was running from because, you know, it's like I wasn't always Danica the Diabetic. It was Danica doing the bare minimum. Danica leave. It was.
That's not what I expected.
No, I thought she was going to say like Danica the Daredevil, but
So, like, not expected at all.
No,
The bear.
the bare minimum with my diabetes. Everything else was, you know, over the top. But I just remember test strips everywhere. Like my dad threatening to turn off my phone if I didn't text him my blood sugars. Because I mean, he knew I wasn't checking them. But I think that was the encouragement. It's like, you have your phone, you could talk to me and give me your blood sugars. But it was like, I wasn't, until I had a CGM. Those numbers were not real.
right.
Those numbers.
Out of sight, out of mind, sadly.
Like, I feel okay. I did this, but as I'm just growing in this journey, like every year, I can't believe it's 18 years. Like, how did I make it this far? Like, you know, how many near death? Like, I didn't have a lot of near deaths, but think about like every low could go wrong. Every high can go wrong.
Right.
And the more I mature, the more I advance, the more I really know myself as a diabetic. Like, that's what it is. It's empowering. So I really see my Diaversary, another year, another milestone. Right. It's not for the community. It's not for the gram. It's for me, because it's me against me. And that's what I
made it.
Yeah. Like, and if you want to party with me, let's go. But if you don't, like, it's okay. And if you don't want to party and if you don't want to celebrate these milestones, that's okay. It's you against you. Figure it out what you want. Like, no one can manage your diabetes for you. Not the tech, not your doc, nobody, not your mom. I know parents, real MVPs out there for all these kids and young adults and beyond, but your kids got to take care of it. Like, they know their body. You don't know your kid's body in that sense. Like, my mom swears we all have diabetes once I got diagnosed. I was like, girl, we all got diagnosed, but it's different. Like, well, it's different. I'm living with it.
Right, and you just brought it back full circle, because you started off, you're talking about neglecting diabetes, basically test strips everywhere, whatnot. But our diaversary gives us a great chance to celebrate that we actually accomplish things in that full circle. Like we brought it back to reality, and now I mean it was a big reality check on ourselves.
Yeah.
Because I mean I'm sure we all had years where diabetes was like, hey diabetes, and now we're like, hey diabetes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'll also like shout out the technology, because I say this and I give myself a lot of credit, which credit is due, don't get me wrong. However, with the technology coming out and with the AID systems, that really did help me embrace diabetes a lot more, because it gave me the tools that were, you know, permitting me to do things that I thought that I would not be able to do again or ever be able to do with diabetes. So I think that that was like an instrumental part too, and just how I feel, because college, I won't go into too much detail because I don't want to change anyone's perception of me, but I'm just shocked, like Danica, like you, I'm just shocked that some of these moments.
We played hard.
How? Yeah, how? How?
Look,
I must have some ancestors, guardian angels somewhere looking after me. My mom's prayers, because she's like, what's going on? All that, all the above. But
Yeah.
yeah.
And
It's a long
I think
journey.
it's a journey. Like, just even looking back, one of my best friends told me, she said, I don't think I ever saw your insulin pump. This is my best friend from college. Like, we've done a lot. And she's like, until I moved, like we did a road trip from Tennessee to Colorado when I was doing that move. She was my ride or die. We did that road trip. She's like, I don't think I saw your pump until then. This is like 5, 6, 7 years after college. And I'm like, what do you mean you never see my pump? Like, she saw my interview with my sister and she's like, yeah, like, I think you hid it or whatever. I was like, I don't think I was hiding it. It was like, I just didn't like it clashing with my outfit, because we worked hard in those days to look fly. And the pump wasn't it for me. It wasn't the accessory. It wasn't the vibe.
It wasn't. And to be fair, again, not like saying that there was, because very grateful, but these pumps back in the day, they were just like a lot bigger than what they are now. And so like you said, like me trying to be cute, going to the bar or whatever, at the time, in my little mind, it just seemed like it was a huge barrier. But hey, gross, I guess.
Look,
Yeah.
actually, we all went through that. Like, even having pens, like, we're out living our best lives. We don't want to pull out a pen and
Yep.
start that whole conversation.
Yeah.
11 units in the bathroom, I would literally do 10 units. It's awful. But I would literally just shoot up 10 units in the bathroom and then like go have my cocktails and just party like nothing. And people would be like, oh my God. And I'd be like, I wonder how many of those times I was actually low versus thinking that it was the alcoholic beverages that I was consuming at the time. It's just very scary. It's not funny. I shouldn't laugh, but it's just shocking. But I don't know, different times.
So celebrate your diaversary, you guys, because I'm just kidding.
Number one lesson. You're telling you what not to do, actually, in some of these situations. Mostly me.
Look,
I feel like we need to have an episode on like literally talking about do's and don'ts, or like what's hot and what's not with diabetes. Like
What's hot, what's not?
what's hot, what's not.
we're hot.
We're hot. You're hot too. I don't want to be mean.
Like, everyone's hot.
We're hot. You're hot.
I'm worried about Danica's connection.
Look,
Yeah, same. I don't know how this is gonna go for the editing part.
Yeah, this is gonna be hard. Okay, good.
You guys, I'm on my phone. I don't know what's going on. Can you hear me? Can you see me?
yeah.
Yes, all good.
Yes.
So let's keep.
Look, our first time seeing you today.
You guys, I don't know what these. I don't know what's going on because it's like my internet's just not. It's just not here today. It's just not working. But let's close out this episode. I got like 2 more questions. Thank goodness we can edit this stuff. But I think what I've been hearing from us is like this got deeper than I expected. And I'm like sitting here even just reflecting on my diversity. Like, what did I do this year? What did I care about? And I think the thing that keeps me motivated as a diabetic is the community, is you guys. Because, you know, I never like I was writing down like what are my goals? I don't even like goals anymore. I like micro like steps, changes, whatever. It's like what's important today? Because we get so focused on the future and it's like the future's not promised. If I'm looking too far ahead, like was I in range today? Was I in range this last hour? Do I feel okay today? You know, like did I give it my best? Because my best's gonna change different. But when I'm preparing for this next year as a diabetic, it's probably the first year I'm like, huh. Maybe I can have a better A1C. Maybe I can care to be in range. I've been told to care about that since day one, but have I cared about it? No. Like, you know, it's like I know what's good, I know what's bad, but I also know, like, this is diabetes. Like, I'm not going to be perfect. If I had freaking 100 or 75 all the time, would I have diabetes? No. You know, like, it's, if my organ was working. So it's like taking that pressure, but looking at this, it's like, so how's my diabetes not just impacting me? How's it impacting my close friends? Who's on this journey with me? And when I was really looking at this past year, is like, wow, how many people have joined this journey? How has my story impacted somebody else? And it's really just encouraged me to continue to use my voice, talking about the food or the networking or the tech or beyond, but it's like, it's bigger than just me. And that's where I'm realizing how diabetes has changed my life. It's not just me. It's our community. It's our group. It's everybody. I'm not just being diabetic. Well, I'm being diabetic because I am, but I'm being Danica the Diabetic for something bigger. And I think that's really just my why. And having this milestone, this anniversary that was given to us, I think is just a chance that's given me to be all in. And that's how my mind shift's kind of shifting for this next year as a diabetic. But I'd love to kind of know, like, as you guys are going into where you're at today, what you're looking forward, like, what's your why, and why does having a diaversary make you even think about it?
I can go. That's such a good question, and it's something that I ponder quite often. And I think our why is subject to change, right? Like, I don't think our why always has to stay the same, especially throughout different periods of life and different phases. Like, for example, when I was first diagnosed, I can tell you right now, my mom said, "Don't you ever question why you have this disease?" And I never have. And because of that, I think every time I interact with new kids or new people, or I meet someone in public and I get to share with them about my diabetes and ask them about theirs and actually be an ear and someone that can relate, you know, like that serves so much more purpose, and it's so fulfilling just to know that that could be why I have diabetes. Maybe it's because I needed to meet this one girl 10 years down the line, and my story changed the entire trajectory of hers, you know? So I just try not to put too much emphasis on like the reason why I was diagnosed, and more so on what can I do with this diagnosis? Who can I impact? What can I do with my story? And how can I use my voice to be a voice for others that might not have one, you know? Like the little girls who are just diagnosed and their parents are asking questions and they don't understand how they feel when they're low. And I can be the person that's like, okay, this is what it feels like. This is how you can help her. You know, stuff like that really makes this journey so much more worth it. So I think that's my why. And now that I'm looking, 10 years later, this phase of my life, that's still definitely a substantial portion of why I do a lot of what I do. But now I'm thinking of what, like, my future family, because I do want to have kids 10 years from now. So in a decade from today, like, I would love to have like 4 kids, and that's not my new why. So like, why am I taking care of myself each day? Why am I trying to manage my blood sugars better? because I want to be a healthy mom and I want to be a good example for my kids. So I think over time it's continued to change, but ultimately, yeah, I think just never question why this happened to us, but we'll find the reasons with time.
I love that. I'm just like, oh my gosh, guys. Oh.
Make me start crying.
Yeah.
Don't cry. Don't cry.
Your why is everything. Like it meant so much. Like I can feel it. Like thank you.
Yeah. And the more I do this, the more we talk, I'm like, you guys are such a big part of my why. Like, think about it. Us as how in the world are 4 brown skin type 1 diabetics out here talking about this? Like, how are we even having a platform? And it's like, think about this. Probably years ago, like, this couldn't happen. And here we are. There's probably, I don't even know how many people probably had diabetes that look like us that didn't have the platforms, didn't have the support, didn't have people that look like them. Like, I started the whole Black Diabetic t-shirt thing because, one, like, I want representation, but it's okay. It's okay to have different types of diabetes. It's okay. But, like, to Tiana's point, our lives change. And I feel like, you know, every month or every year, every diaversary, my why, like, I'm going to challenge myself to evaluate it and make sure that I'm evolving and I'm, one, owning my diabetes because that's a promise to myself, but also it's more than just this. It's more than the little girl. It's more than you guys. It's bigger. It's a collective. And I don't know. I think our whys are just so important and they're evolving. And it's just, this is a reminder for me to just check in. If I'm out here and I'm talking and we're doing all the stuff that we're doing in our professional lives and our other lives, like Tiana, you said, your whys, you want a family someday. Like, you work out, you do a lot. You encourage people to live a well-rounded lifestyle. And that's not just for today, that's for your future. And your why is just so much bigger. And it's just bringing it full circle right there. I love that. It's beautiful.
Thanks. This is such a great conversation. Like, it's so real. I think that's why I'm like over here so emotional, because you don't really get to just like talk about this stuff all the time. Yeah.
But it's
Okay,
important
guys.
to, though. Because it's like, that is a part of the journey. That's a part of the story. Are you okay?
No, I told you guys I'm crying tonight.
We're all emotional
Let it
thugs
out.
tonight.
Let it pour.
I just care about you guys. And I care about, like...
I think part of it is because it is so real, and even though all of our diabetes and our stories are different, we can all share the same similarities. And Tiana, like, just like you said, like, for me, myself, my story kind of changed too. It's more or less my why is looking forward to the future and a family and trying to prepare for that, but also just in the past I've poured into the community and wanting to give back, but to an extent I hadn't really poured that same energy into myself. And so I really want to make sure that I'm good to do that. And so this year is year of me to get back to caring about myself, and that's my why, because sorry, if I can't, then nobody will be able to. You have to have that foundation, and that's your own. You have to believe in yourself in order to give back to other people and to fill up other people's cups. And so that's just kind of where I'm at. Yeah.
No, that's everything. Like, and I know we all, like, social media is a tool. It's not life. And we all do things outside of social media. I think our impact is much bigger and beyond. It's more than ourselves. And like what you're saying is, like, if we're not full, if we're not taking care, like, we just did our blood sugar check. Like, I want to know how you guys are. And it's more than just like, oh, I'm sitting here, I changed my Omnipod. Great, like, we do this, but what are these real things that we're dealing with? Like, diabetes isn't pretty. It's hard, and it impacts you holistically. Like, that's why we have our counselor therapists. That's why we have our dietitians. That's why we have our fitness guru. That's why we have our coach, because it's so much more than just administering insulin and checking your blood sugar. It is your life. It's our lifeline. If it can just impact so much. It goes so much deeper. And I really feel like as minorities, we have to show up differently. And taking care of ourselves can take a lot more because of the pressures the world has put in front of us. So it's real. And we're not doing this for us. We're not volunteering our time right now for us. It's for our communities. It's for our families. It's not just we're not going from like intent. We're going from intent to impact. And we're laying down this ground for the ones who come after us, because in these clinical studies, like, there's bias. There's not always people that look like us that are included in these. And this advancement in tech, there's bias. So our stuff is more than just a cute little picture on social media. We're doing the surveys. We're talking to these companies. We're having these conversations behind closed doors so that our voices and our communities are reflected in these decisions. And I think that's where it gets heavy, because yes, we do this because it's who we are, but that also is a bigger responsibility than any of us thought when we were diagnosed X amount of years ago. Because who would have thought? I never would have thought I'd be out here doing advocacy. I'd be out here having deep conversation, maybe crying on a podcast. Like, it's different. And I think that comes into our why. It comes into our task. It comes into really what being a diabetic means to me. It's more than just, oh, I have a chronic illness. There's more people behind me. There's other people that look like me. There's other people going through things. We are uplifting people. We're showing up in different ways. So
I would also just address what Bridget said too. I think sometimes we take on a lot of responsibility thinking that we have to be there for every single person. And I think I was in the same spot this time last year, where I started, to be honest, I felt like I was giving so much of myself and I never had anybody giving anything back to me. And so I would show up to a million different events, and I'd show up to a podcast, and I'd show up to a photo shoot, and I'd show up and I'd show up and I'd show up. And then I started questioning, well, what would happen if I just didn't show up? I just felt so tired and exhausted. And so I kind of just stepped away for a little bit, but I could only do that to a certain extent. And I didn't want people to see me not doing well, because I feel like this whole time that's been my whole motive, is to make sure that people know that they can do whatever they want to do with diabetes. And companies and all of these great opportunities are still rolling in, and they're still expecting me to create all this content and do all of these other things and show up for this news interview. And I just felt like I was screaming for help on the inside, because I felt like I was letting so many people down, because I can only do so much. And so then, like you said, as minorities, it feels like we have that extra layer of responsibility. It's but I have to show up. I have to do it, because if I don't do it, then who's going to? And I think that's when it starts to feel really heavy. And like Bridget said, I'm really proud that you're even acknowledging the fact that you do need to take some time to pour back into yourself. And that is totally okay. Sometimes your why could be you. You're your why.
Right.
It doesn't have to be all of these other things. It could be you. So we're in your corner. You know that. Right. So if you do need anything, we're here.
And as we reflect on this, this has been an emotional journey. As we reflect on this, I did want to bring up that not only do we all matter and our whys matter, we are there's a reflection of us that's being shined and shown out broadly. So we may not have the people coming to us asking for us to share our stories, share our journeys, but just know that even if it's just one of us, it means so much, because I know personally, 4 years ago, I did not know another T1D that looked like us. And now I'm sitting here with 3 strong educated women who are powerful. You have a strength that no barrier, no blockade can break through. You have that in you, and you share it with the community. You share it, and I see the reflection on yourselves because it's there. Like I can see it in your eyes, and it just means so much because I'm raising a little brown girl, and I know that she needs role models. My wife is a great role model, her grandma, her aunts, but she needs role models via like this social media presence that she can look at and look up to, whether it's a person with diabetes or a person without. As she looks at you as little kids who are growing up with diabetes, look at us all, they know that next year they can celebrate their diaversary because not only did we show that it's okay to celebrate it, but that diabetes has brought us together. It really has brought us together because I'm sure I would have never have met any of you, any of you. But I'm so proud and I'm so glad that I have because I mean I'm a strong man, strong black man, I would say. But I also call myself an emotional thug. Like seriously, um, and I've always been that. I'm not. I have no fear in showing my emotion, showing who I am as a person, because it opens the doors for other people to do the same. In
Hmm.
this room, you have opened the doors for us all to be truly who we are. And a part of that is our emotions. So as we go along in this journey and we celebrate our diaversaries, we tell why we matter, we show and we forecast our futures. We all know that along this journey, we're all going to be there for each other. If no one else is, you send me a message, you send me a message, you send me a message, I will respond. I will reply. Um, And this past year, I took it upon myself to reach out to every person of color in the DOC because I didn't want us to always have to be, like Bridget said, the person who shows up for other people. We need to take that time for ourselves. I did not want us all to be that person all the time. That olive branch is extended so we all can be that person. We have many people that look like us in the diabetic online community, and we all matter equally. So if you ever feel the pressure of or the overwhelm of you yourself always being that person that everyone grabs, just tag someone else. Tag me. I'll tag you. Like tag each other because we know that we can't do it all. We can't. It's impossible.
It
But
is.
there's a community of us out there.
And I think it's one of those like we all do such a good job. Like if we get opportunities, like I'm not trying to be the poster child. Like I feel like I've been the poster child because I was out and loud and extra like half my life. Like this, like if there's an opportunity where I know someone else is better for, or they haven't had those opportunities, I'm just like, hey, check out this person. No, they do this thing, do that, like expand because it we are empowering each other and we don't have to carry the entire load, but we also need to tell others like it's okay to talk about it if you want. It's okay to not talk about it. It's okay to have our own close spaces. It's okay to not like you can intermingle, you can do these other things, but you never know when someone's looking at you when you're online in those senses. And I've had so many moms say, or other people like, hey, you're making an impact in my child or my family's life. And all of those messages always come in when I'm ready to stop. Like I got hacked. My account got hacked and it's like, this stuff doesn't matter, but it did. It's like I worked on this for years and I built a community and it's like I lost my community overnight. I didn't lose it, but I had to start over. And it's like people are like, Danica, I thought you just got offline. I didn't know how to reach you. I didn't know how to do this. And one of my friends, I just reconnected with her. It's been a year since I got hacked. And we just found each other's pages again. and reconnected. It's Bree. She's in Arizona. And I was like, she was such an inspiration for me. It's like, I want people to know more about Bree because she's another strong Black woman out here doing everything, living life as a diabetic. And the load is heavy as itself as a diabetic. Our loads are extra. We're putting ourselves out here, but we're sharing it. And we are living. And like, I don't know, I have personal relationship with all you guys, so many other people, but it's like, it's brought me some of my closest friends. And it's just a beautiful thing. And like, as I'm really going into this next year as a diabetic, I'm like, all right, I'm very intentional right now. I think it started off as, hey, yeah, I can do this. I can talk about this. I can do blah, blah, blah. Like I started a company and it's like, I'm not even being as intentional with this company. Like, why do I want to do this? What's my why? I'm bringing my why into all of it. And I know you guys hold me accountable to that as well, but you're also holding me realistic. You're like, Danica, you don't have to do all this stuff. Do what fuels your soul, do what makes sense for you. But my thing that I've been going into this next year is impact, intention. Like we can talk, but it's like there's big things going on. Like still people are rationing insulin. Still, we don't know they can get screened. Like getting screened for type 1 diabetes, what if that would have happened to me? You know, what if like I want that little girl, like, will you have kids? Did you know there's options for this? It's like you guys are planning. Now there's hope, there's medication, there's beyond. Like this stuff is important. Yes, I'll post a selfie of me and my acai bowl or whatever, but these are the things that are important to me. And they're important for our community. They're important for our legacy as diabetics. So that's where my next year is focusing on. It's just that intentional, deeper impact because our lives depend on it and our future families' lives depend on it. This has been such an emotional episode on something that I'm so excited about, diabetes.
I'm so sorry.
No, I love it because that's the thing. It's like, it's not just my celebration. Like my Diaversary week is a very emotional week for me. It's MLK Day, then it's my adoption day, and then it's my Diaversary. And it's my most celebrated week where it's like, this is Danica week. This is Danica a lot. Danica and Will week now, but Will's birthday, it's our week, but it's a time where it's like my life could be very different if I didn't have these two things. If I wasn't adopted into a loving home, if I wasn't cared for, if I wasn't taken to the doctor, you know, like my life could be very, very different. So it's my time to really celebrate, but also pause, reflect, and build through. So let's close this out. I really want to know, like, what if you guys just had a last piece of words to give to people that have been listening that might be a person of color, might not be a person of color, someone newly diagnosed or long term, like when you're approaching another year, another milestone as a diabetic, what is one piece of wisdom, advice, or lessons that you guys would share? I can start. My piece of advice is do you first. It's you against you. It's your life, regardless of what everyone else is doing. Like you're gonna have the community to support you in whatever way you're comfortable to reach out for. But at the end of the day, like you're responsible for your health and your well-being. And that's the most important thing. Like we want you here. We want you healthy. And we want you to show up in whatever capacity that you can, but do your best and whatever your best looks like in that moment.
So for me, I would just tell someone, just take your time. Just take your time because as you take your time, you'll be able to see all of the things that you're doing as success. Like you'll be able to clap for the small achievements because if you're in a rush for everything, then you're in that fast course of life, then you're going to miss a lot of things when it comes to diabetes, to your management, your control. Just take your time, take a step back sometimes, breathe, reflect, and just be like, I made it, and I'm continuing to make it.
I would say I'm proud of you. That's it. I'm proud of you. Just keep going. Don't give up on yourself even when it gets hard.
I'm just trying not to cry again, but basically just keep going, right? Like Tiana said, and like Will said, your journey is your own journey, so you're gonna go at your own pace. So don't lose sight of that. You know, you might have some shortfalls, you might have some setbacks, but it's a part of your diabetes journey and learning, and that's just life, and we're human, and that's just gonna happen. but don't give up. And you have people in your corner. You have people that believe in you. You have people that will support you. You have people, if anything, you have 4 people right here. So don't forget that. You're not alone.
Oh, this is powerful, guys. This is powerful, and I appreciate every single one of you guys that's sitting here taking time to do this. And I appreciate anyone who listens to this, because it's not easy to, one, talk about your diabetes. It's not easy to go and show it, and it's not easy to advocate. It's not. I'm just being real. But we're happy to do it. And sometimes the load is heavy. We're humans. We are humans, but we are in your circle, and our circle's big. It's bigger than us 4 right here, but we want to continue to bring opportunities, bring conversations, bring learning and growth and resources to everybody, because diabetes is more than just your medication and your numbers and seeing your doctor when you can. It's the struggles of finance, it's health equity, it's your mental well-being, it's your access to food, it is how you feel and move your body, and it is how do you reach new goals, how do you learn how to figure out what's best for your body, and coaching through it. So it's a lot. Diabetes is a lot. That's how to give it a word, a lot. That's what diabetes is, but it's doable. You're capable. You're able to take on this task. I don't care if you're recently diagnosed. I don't care if you don't know another diabetic. You can do it. It's you against you, and we're here to help you get to wherever you want to get in your diabetes journey. I want to thank everyone for tuning in, and stay tuned for more highs and hellos. They'll be teary, they'll be exciting, they'll be a little bit of everything. So you never know what you're going to get when you're talking to us. And that brings us to the end of today's episode of Highs and Hellos, embracing the unexpected in the diabetic journey. Remember, every challenge, every low, every high represents a chapter in your journey with diabetes. Whether it's a sudden blood sugar drop or a new management regimen, each hello is an opportunity for growth. With determination and the right resources, thriving isn't just a possibility, it's a promise. A special shout out to our sponsor, Dialogue, the insulin for your soul. Delve deeper, cultivate resilience, and connect with a community waiting just for you at www.dia-log.co. Until next time, stay strong, cherish each moment, and always remember to thrive with it.